Mr. James was a tall man, with dark, carefully combed hair and thick glasses. He did not even glance at me as I came through the door. There was water on his overcoat and mud on his shoes. He held a large black umbrella in his hand, and he looked as if he had been beaten down by the thunderous storm outside. He fidgeted with his umbrella and looked nervously at his watch. He scanned around him carefully. A tall man, full of youth, but with a noticeable limp, entered the room. He seemed busy, very busy. His hair was messy, and his clothes disheveled. He did not notice Mr. James, who seemed acutely aware of his presence. As soon as he knocked on the door, it creaked open slowly. He entered hesitantly, fidgeting with the envelope in his hand, and headed up the steps. His footsteps echoed up the large, steep staircase. When he reached the second floor, a creaking sound echoed throughout the building. He froze, his heart beating. A good minute passed as he listened to the silence around him. He decided to continue up the stairs slowly. Second floor, third floor, fourth floor. He stepped out onto the landing, but the sound of steps continued. He panicked, but there was nowhere to run. He limped to the nearest door, but it wouldn't open. The steps got louder as the entity climbed the stairs. Frustrated, he ran to the next door and violently beat against it, but it would not open. He felt a cord being thrown around his throat, and he was dragged back into the dark corner of the hall. He fought back, writhing to get his neck out of the bounds of Mr. James. His hands were clamped to the cord while sweat began to develop on his face. The hallway seemed to stretch on forever as time began to slow down. For a moment, he saw a lamp down the hall flash into darkness. Lestrade circled the body. Notice the light footprint of mud here 3 paces from the body, Sherlock said. And this piece of cloth caught in the doorway. There is dried mud on it here, and it hasn't rained since noon yesterday. Watson interjected. So who possibly could have done this? Watson, I can't believe how you were so blind. Isn't it obvious? Mr. James is the murderer. Another young man entered the room. He wore his hair short, but he was not clean-shaven. This was to hide a pink scar on his chin from an accident he had as a child. He was modestly dressed in red, and he seemed to be a man of education. Nervously, he fiddled with his keys in his pocket, the sound calming him. Something was clearly wrong. Behind him, it was Mr. James!